Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Morning Soul. And today, this beautiful morning, I'm going to be doing another That Game I Played. And in this series, I look back on relics from my gaming past, dust them off, and say everything I would have said about it all those years ago. And today, I'm going to be talking about Naruto Clash of Ninja 2. And I already talked about the first game in this series. I bought both of these games at GameStop for extremely cheap. And both of them were like extremely short, play in a day kind of games. So like, there's not a whole lot to talk about. And I even like made the last one pretty short just because I wanted to leave some points to be made for this video. So let's just jump right into it. With the last game, it was very bare minimum. You had like, I forget, like 10 or so characters, around that number. This time they were able to double the number. You have like 20 characters, and this time we get past the Land of Waves arc and we make it all the way to the tuning exam. So we get characters like Gaara, we get Neji, we get all those guys. We get Ino, like people who are like, we don't get like the very obvious characters and that's it. We actually get some pretty interesting ones. And it plays very similarly to the first game. Like any points I could be made where I could be like, oh, they weren't lazy because they, doubled the roster. They, the story mode, sure, it's just the same thing as the last game where it's like two still images with some text, and those still images are on like a screen that represents where they're talking. Very basic shit. But at least we can say they were doing a little bit more, but the mechanics of the game play exactly like the first game, which is to say you're just going to be mashing the B and A buttons repeatedly and the analog stick, and there's probably just going to be straight up useless buttons, which in a fighting game that should never be the case. It's going to play very much like the first game where we're going to be in a circular arena and we're just going to fucking mash each other to death. And we're going to hope to get like some supers, and those are going to be flashy and those are going to be cool, and that's going to be like the best part of the game. Very everything I could have said about the first game I could just repeat here and then just add some like little tidbits. But that being said, this game actually the combat for this game isn't bad. Like even though it's simplistic, like it's still like a fun kind of beat 'em up style. And the game, like even the first game, didn't look bad. The graphics are cel shaded and look like pretty good. It's just like the fact that it's such a small game. But now it's to the point where it's like, I can't make that argument anymore because this was actually like more of a filled out experience. It gave you some things to like stick around and do. Like the story mode like will last a couple hours more. You're gonna be able to, do a couple modes here and there. Multiplayer, I don't invest in multiplayer, especially for these kinds of games. But, there's some multiplayer choices. It's a fighting game. Any fighting game, like, the idea is the story mode is like a side addition, and you're supposed to be playing these games with your friends. Obviously, I didn't really do that. I'm, reviewing this at face value, but it's a very simple game. And, despite that though, it actually got some good reviews. I'm looking at like the reception here, and IGN gave it an 8.2 out of 10. An 8.2. Even XPlay, who shit on this entire series, they gave it a 3 out of 5. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't think, games like these will survive the test of time. They're probably, just gonna exist in physical form. I don't think that many people will. I don't think there'll ever be like a super HD version of this. But if there is, not a bad thing to have, just to throw on one day. And this came out in 2006, the English version at least. The Japanese version came out 2003. So it took like enough like cult following from the show to like bring it over here, even though it's a game that like didn't need to exist. In 2006, that's late in the GameCube's lifespan. So by the time this game came out, nobody really gave a fuck about it. Like, I'm sorry to say, there was no, like, people were moving on to bigger, better things. By 2006, the story had been, like, much farther along. I will say that, like, it let you do Naruto's, like, nine-tail thing, like, and they made that, like, a separate character. Like, they had nine-tailed Naruto as, like, a separate character. And then they had, like, Curse Mark Sasuke as a separate character. Like, that never should be the case, in my opinion. And then they had fucking the fucking dog, Kiba's dog, Konohamaru. Like, that's a separate character. You know, Sasuke or Kakashi with his, like, Sharingan, that's a separate character. Like, everything, fucking Crow. Like, I'm looking at this roster here and it's just embarrassing. Like, I want to give them points for being able to, you know, get some more characters in here, but, like, I can cut out at least, like, 7 of these. Well, maybe not 7, but a good amount of these. I do like the fact that you can play as Iruka Sensei, which later games, like, that's how irrelevant of a character Iruka Sensei, like, became. He's not even worth putting in the games anymore, because it's like, who the fuck wants to play as Iruka Sensei? But, the game itself, you know, very simple. Just play through the story mode, get through the cheating arc, you know, just mash your way through that shit. And it's not a bad experience. It's just very bland. And, you know, there's enough here that, like, I don't want to give it, like, a 4, because that would imply, like, I had a bad time. Like, games like these are worth 5 out of 10. They're worth existing to me. That being said, though, there's 100 better fighter games. There's 100 better Naruto games that you could play. Just my opinion, just spitballing. But that being said, I do like the game will start out like you get like text, like detailing things. It's for fans of the series. Like, if you're not a fan of the series, you're not gonna like any of these games. I will say, like, the backgrounds have improved. Like, just like battling in the Leaf Village, you're gonna see like the ramen shops. They're gonna be like, the graphics here actually look pretty good for a game that came out in 2003. And it's always fast paced, it's always moving. You're just like, when you're playing as an Naruto, you're just slugging and jumping and doing all these crazy things. Like, you're gonna be in the Land of Waves, and there's gonna be like this epic bridge that you're gonna fight on. That's cool. And you're gonna get through this game really fucking fast. So it's like, in a short amount of time, they're like able to actually kind of like make you believe you had a good time by just packing this big punch. But I do just like getting my finishers in there, getting hyped up, listening to Naruto's dumbass voice going, believe it. And then you got Sakura. The loading screen is literally Sakura when she like rages out, just like punching the word loading. I thought that was pretty clever. But yeah, that's it to this game. Not all that much else. I'm gonna give my rating now. Naruto Clash of Ninja 2, 5 out of 10. It's a average ass game. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to another edition of That Game I Played. Another edition to Good Morning Soul. Just another day at the office here. Anyway, thank you for listening again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning with another episode, and until then, with that, I leave you.